It is truly so good to be with you this morning and a blessing to be together as a family. I'm glad that you made the choice. Present yourselves before the Father this morning and be here as a part of this family as we worship together and we spend the next few minutes in the Word together. We're going to be in Luke chapter 20 if you want to turn there. We'll be there in just a second. When I was a young man, of course, like most young men, your pride gets in the way every once in a while. And when I first started dating my wife, she and I will celebrate our 31st anniversary Tuesday. And so that's an incredible blessing to me personally. But when we first started dating, I went home to meet the mom and her stepdad and who had raised her. And we walked in the door and he looked me up and down and said, "Well, kind of homely, ain't he?" Now, Janine warned me before we went in the door, said, "Now, I got to warn you." And she just kept going on and on about how, he was just a different guy, but he was a good guy. Don't judge him too quickly. And that's all right. She didn't know completely at that point my background. I looked him up and down and said, "Yeah, but I'm still a lot better looking than you are." And he started laughing, and we talked for about 5 minutes, and he stopped in the middle of the conversation and looked at my wife and said, "I like this boy a whole lot better than that last one you brought home." And so that was my introduction to a life of more humility with my in-laws and learning from a wise Creek, member of the Creek tribe, who taught me a lot of things, and he was a blessing. One of the things too, he loved to eat hot stuff, and I remember we went to the state fair one year and we found a booth he had heard about, and he starts eating these peppers, just picking them up and eating them until sweat breaks out across his brow. And until that point, I was going to do my best to keep up with him. But when he broke out sweating, that's enough. My pride ends right there. And but we all learn about things, don't we? And we learn humility in different ways in life, and it's good to learn a little bit of humility as we strive to grow ourselves and be more. We're continuing a series this week from the book of Luke, and it's entitled "The Carpenter," looking at the humanity of Christ and some of the things that affected him as a human and as a Savior, as a divine Savior. And so we're going to be in Luke chapter 20, and I want to talk about being robed a little bit and how we robe ourselves. And of course, being young too, at one time there was this concept. I remember a young man coming to services, and he stuck out because he didn't come in until after services started, and he came in with, back then, a big gulp, if y'all remember those, 7-Eleven big gulp, and it was the biggest cup you can get at Quick Trip. It was about that size, big foam cup, had a straw at it, and he walked in with this big bag of potato chips. And he came right down of course, this church had a big middle row, came right down the middle row, and he sat right on the front of the chair, and he ripped open that potato chip bag and started eating potato chips and drinking that soda on the front row in some ratty-looking shorts and an old T-shirt. And, of course, I remember as he walked down the row, there were several heads looking at him going like this, And I thought, as a young person, you guys will think I never had thoughts like this, right? But as a young person, I thought, poor old people, why are they judging him like that? Why would they do that, right? Wait till I get a chance to talk to them. I'm going to straighten them out. Doesn't matter. If he's here to hear the truth, let him come however he wants, right? And we have that concept sometimes. It doesn't matter what you wear as long as you bring the best before the Lord. I mentioned in class this morning, one of the wisest men I've ever met was a man who came in overalls. He always wore overalls. Sometimes they were dirty and sometimes they weren't, but they were his best. And so it doesn't matter what we wear on the outside, but it does matter what we wear on the inside, right? And so that's an important thing to remember. But there are times in life where what we wear is important, right? There are jobs that you can't do without the right clothing. One, as a public position, as a police officer, that uniform is an important thing because you can see if you need help from a police officer, you want to be able to identify him quickly. If you're a fireman, firemen don't rush in T-shirt and jeans to a fire, right? That would be a stupid thing to do. You need that protective gear on to define your job and take care of you. Having worked at a power plant too, where you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of volts running over your head. If you're not wearing the right protective wear, you can wind up just being dust on the ground in those kind of situations in a plant that produces electricity. If you are a member of the bomb squad, you're not going to wear shorts and a t-shirt to disarm a bomb, right? So it is important sometimes what we robe ourselves in, and we're going to see that in a few minutes. How we robe ourselves is important, and how we robe ourselves internally, because that's what our verses are about this morning. Men who robe themselves in pride. We're going to be reading from Luke chapter 20, verses 27 and following, but before we do that, I need to give you a little bit of information about the Sadducees. You hear about these, there's even a song about the Sadducees, right? The Sadducees or Sadducee. I love that song, but used to sing it at VBS every year, but talking about the Sadducees and the Pharisees. And the reality is, to the Jewish people, to Israel, the Sadducees and Pharisees are two sides of a political coin. They're both fighting for power and strength, but at the time of Jesus' life, the Sadducees are in control of the high priesthood. And the Sadducees hold more chairs on the Sanhedrin, which is, matter of fact, established, by the way, Numbers chapter 11, 16. God tells Moses, go out and find 70 men and bring them in that they can share the burden of leadership of the people with you. Now, the Sadducees, being as political as they were at the time, actually, they wound up adding 2 seats. They went from 70 to 72. During Jesus' time, there are 72 seats in the Sanhedrin who oversee and are kind of like judges and teachers of the law and things. So you have the Sadducees on one side and the Pharisees on the other. And the Pharisees believe in the resurrection. The Sadducees do not. The Sadducees only believe in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. They don't step outside that. They believe that God created everything, but they don't believe God does anything else, and you don't rise after death. That whatever happens to you in life, it's your choice, it's your control. So the reality is, a lot of scholars believe the Sadducees are the one who set up the money-changing tables in the temple that Jesus drives out. Because the Sadducees are all about power and control and ruling over the people. And that time in history, the Sadducees are very rich. They're the ones gaining money and gaining power, and they're the ones who have influence with Rome because they claim that they can control the people. And that if you'll let the Sanhedrin stand and not disband it, we'll be a blessing to you as a city of Rome, because it doesn't matter what the choices they make, because as Sadducees, they don't believe in the resurrection. There's nothing after this life. All that you can get out of this life is all that is important. And so we need to understand that, because now we're going to see, as Jesus is questioned by the Sadducees and Pharisees, and his answer and his frustration in that as a human man. Okay? So Luke, but before we do that, I want to mention this. We've talked about pride a little bit so far, and this is going to be a situation of pride. And it's not what we're supposed to be about. Colossians 3:12 says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And so we need to be reminded of that before we start reading Luke chapter 20, beginning of verse 27. Follow along with me. Some of the Sadducees who say there is no resurrection came to Jesus with a question. Teacher, they said, Moses wrote for us that his man's brother dies and leaves a wife, but no children. The man must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers, and the first one married a woman and died childless. The second, and then the third married her, and in the same way the 7 died, leaving no children. Finally the woman died too, and now then at the resurrection, whose wife will she be, since the 7 were married to her? And I love this, because here's the concept the Sadducees are doing. Jesus, we're throwing you this concept of the afterlife, and he knows they don't believe in the after. What are you doing? A what-if scenario. And so I want to stop right here and give you this warning. What-if scenarios are destructive and build anxiety in life, and we're supposed to lay our anxieties upon Him because He cares for us. Be careful to be like the Sadducees who like to play what if. Because we can what if all day long, and the reality is, very seldom to never is there any truth in what if. So be very careful not to follow their example. Verse 34, then Jesus replies to them, the people of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who are considered worthy of taking part in the age to come and in the resurrection from the dead will neither marry nor be given in marriage. And they can no longer die, for they are like the angels. They are God's children, since they are children of the resurrection. But in the account of the burning bush, even Moses showed that the dead rise, for he calls the Lord the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living, for to him all are alive. And I love this next verse because now we see the other teachers of the law, the Pharisees, are on the other side. They love it and they take advantage of it, right? Isn't that just like us? When someone makes a mistake, don't we want to take advantage of it pretty quickly if we can? Verse 39, some of the teachers of the law responded, well said, teacher. Now this is the first time we hear the Pharisees looking at you. Well said, teacher. Pride. You sure told them Sadducees, didn't you? Verse 40, and no one dared to ask him any more questions. And then Jesus said to them, why is it said, I love this. So he comes back. He's answered the Sadducees. Now he's going to take a shot at the Pharisees because he knows they're all robed in pride and not robed in humility like people of the Father are supposed to be. So he says this, why is it said that the Messiah is the son of David? David himself declares in the book of Psalms, this is 110th Psalm, by the way, verse 1, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. And David calls him Lord. How then can he be his son? And so not only does we see that nobody wanted to ask him questions any longer, Jesus shoots a question back to the Pharisees, said, all right, I struck down the Sadducees. What about you Pharisees? You're going to walk away saying, see, we told you so. So he takes a shot at them, and then he asks them a question that they can't answer as well, because he wants his disciples to learn a lesson from this situation, and here comes the lesson. Are you ready? Verse 42, or verse 45, While all the people were listening, Jesus said to his disciples, beware of the teachers of the law, the Pharisees and the Sadducees is who he's talking about. They like to walk around in flowing robes and love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. And they devour widows' houses and for a show make lengthy prayers. These men will be punished most severely because they were prideful in who they were. They were prideful men. And we need to be, as Christians, careful about how our pride swallows us whole sometimes and gets us in situations that we can't get out of, because the reality is we're never quite as smart as we think we are. Be careful not to wear your humility like a robe that can be removed when it is uncomfortable. And so here's some of those circumstances, right? You're working in the kitchen here at the church and somebody does something you don't like, and you're going to tell them all about it because you're so humble. Or we've cleared this auditorium because the kids are doing something in here, and we begin to set up chairs. And, well, that's not right. Y'all need to turn them chairs. You know, you start giving directions to everybody about the chairs because you know better. And those little things get a hold of it. Well, I wouldn't do it that way. You know what? I don't like that welcome center out there. Wood and black. Who in the world made that choice? Couldn't they finish the paint job on that thing? And these things enter our mind. 2 cups, putting the bread below that. Well, whose idea was that? Well, I ain't never done it that way before. Pride, 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 and pride walks you right out the door, walks you in the door. So I'm going to share something else with you that I've heard. I've had a couple of people in this church. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether they're here or not this morning. Only they will know. I don't like those signs up there. Why they put them signs up there? We don't need those up there. Don't put them up there. I wish they'd take it. Just too much. It's too busy. It's too much. And then you know what? A week ago, we had a visitor here, and he caught me at the back of the auditorium, and he said, let me tell you, I enjoyed this morning, but one of the things I wanted to mention to you is how much I love the signs that you have across the front of the auditorium. They spoke to me this morning. They reminded me to recenter my thoughts and focus on worship. And I'm going to go home and convince our congregation to put up signs across the front. But we march along with our opinions and our prides, and I don't like that, and I don't like this, and I wouldn't do that way. I'd change this, and I could do it better than you. And where are we clothing ourselves in humility and bringing peace into the family when we make those kind of decisions? We get a little bit lost, don't we, in those kind of things? And we take our pride and we put it on, and we take our humility and we set it to the side until it's comfortable for us to return and pick it up again. So we put it on and off like a robe. And we make judgments about people that we're supposed to love and care for and be kind to and patient. And so we get lost in our way. 1 Peter 5, 8 and 9, be alert and sober-minded. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. So we see in this situation that, you know what? I don't like them signs, but I'm going to live with them because other people will live with them. I don't like that gluten-free cake. I don't care whether the preacher can have gluten or not. Get some real cake in here. Danae's not here this morning. She's probably listening. Make me that gluten-free cake. That's nice. She knows that it doesn't bother my stomach, but it makes me break out like a 12-year-old, right? It makes me itch all over, so I can't have gluten. Not anymore. That's just recent. That's a weird thing, isn't it? But we gripe about things. We find weird things to get upset about, and we get all upset because we're not like anybody else. Nobody else understands what we're undergoing, right? Is that what the Word teaches? Is that what he wrote? No, that's not the truth. There are others always undergoing the little irritants in life that you are, and even the greater things in life, whether it be loss of someone who loves you, or the loss of a job, or someone destroying you in front of others, and making sure that you know that you're supposed to be humble, because that happens to all of us, doesn't it? But brethren, we're supposed to look around and realize that those who are around us in life are undergoing the same trials and struggles, and that we understand that there is someone in this congregation who understands where you're at. We'll help you find them so you can sit and talk about what you're having to deal with in life, so that we can stand instead of being prideful and arrogant and opinionated. Sometimes we just want to say that's our opinion. That's another way for saying you're prideful and arrogant. So be careful. So we can resist the devil and his temptations to get angry and upset about things, and we can move forward instead of making questions and trying to catch people in the act of making mistakes, right? We become what we need to become in life. And why did he say do that? Why did he say resist the devil? Here's the verses before, and I love throwing you off like that. Why did he say resist him? Stand up. Know that others are undergoing. Because in the same way, you who are younger, submit yourself to the elders. By the way, that's talking about the elders of the church. So whether we agree or not, if it's not a biblical thing, then you live with it and don't talk about it. Don't gripe about it. Don't complain about it. Submit yourselves to your elders. All of you clothe yourselves, from the youngest to the oldest, clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you. So be alert and sober-minded. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion. Why? Because when you're not humble, he's coming after you. When you open up your mouth and say things that are prideful, he's telling us here, Satan's going to come get you. He's going to attack you. He's set a scheme in place to make sure that you will be destroyed in the end. So you've got to remember to be humble. Clothe yourselves with it. Because in the right time, in the right moment in life, God will raise you up. Let him lift you up. Don't lift yourself up. Allow the Lord to lift you up. That you would be honored by those who serve him and love him and see that you are a humble servant to the Lord Almighty. Galatians 5:22 through 24. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Because against these things there is no law. Now those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. And so we have to stop and ask ourselves, right? Just like David in the Psalms we're studying on Sunday morning, where's that moment of self-examination that we look and say, have I crucified myself? Have I decided that others are more important than me? That I live for Christ in all that I do? That daily I pick up my cross. That means dying to myself and living for him. It doesn't mean bearing your burdens. To die to Christ, to live for him. Have I done that so that in my life I can grow in my love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness, gentleness and self-control? Self-control, self-control, self-control. I love Paul's attitude, because if I have to boast, I will boast of what pertains, if I'm going to brag, I'm going to brag about my weaknesses, because in my weaknesses, I find strength in the Lord. How incredible is that thought? That I will stand victorious because God gives me the strength, because he gives me the wisdom, because he gives me the direction, not because I have all that on my own. We may not understand where he's taking us, but we go anyway because it's his will. Humility is a personal awareness of your own frailty in life and the recognition, this is important. I was listening to a preacher not long ago, and he made a statement like this, and he was saying, your humility is an awareness of the frailty, your frailty. That's what he said. And I thought, he just stole from his entire crowd. Because that's not what humility is. It's not what humility is supposed to be. Humility is more than a recognition of our frailty. Humility in life is a recognition of our frailty and a recognition of God's sovereignty in and, I should have changed this, in and of all things. Sovereignty in and of all things in life. Everything. Our food, our clothing, our cars, our homes, our jobs, our future, our children, our grandchildren, it's in his hands. But in my pride, I feel like if something happened to me tomorrow and I die, how's my family going to take care of itself? How are my boys going to find the right wives without my opinion? Yeah, I don't know either. Dads are important, aren't they? They are important. I love that young man. I love you, brother. You know that, right? But in our pride, we make these mistakes. Because the reality is, as Christians, we know if I die tomorrow, whose hands are my family in? Say it again. Somebody say it again. Who? I don't know that you understand if you don't reply. What did you say, brother? My wife's. Well, you know what, little brother? Part of that is absolutely correct. Brethren, you understand it's important that no matter what age you are, that you feel a part of this place and this time. Adults, you understand what I'm saying? Because if I die tomorrow, my family is in the hands of God, and He can do a better job than I can. So I live humbly, and I don't put my humility on like a robe and take it off when it's uncomfortable. For this purpose. Do everything without grumbling or arguing so that you may become blameless and pure. I think I need to read that one more time. Because the reality is, well, we struggle, right? What's my statement? You know. We have a hard time believing what we know is true. Do everything without grumbling or arguing so that you may become blameless and pure children of God, without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars. I like another version, in the universe. Brethren, you want to shine? You want to shine brighter than others? Then serve humbly your brethren in this world. And you will shine like a star in the universe. And so this morning I ask you this question. There's my bell. I'm done. Thank you for the alarm. If we can help you set your life right this morning and put on a true humility in Christ, if we can help you begin your life in Christ Jesus to stand to walk in a new life, we want to give you that opportunity, and you can come forward or raise your hand, and I'll come back to you as we stand and sing this song together.